Life is full of things to manage. Your work, your family, your plans, and your treatment. Consider Kesimpta, ofatumumab 20 milligram injection. You can take it yourself from the comfort of home. If you're ready for something different, ask your healthcare provider about Kesimpta and check out the details at kesimpta.com. Brought to you by Novartis Pharmaceuticals Corporation.
Today on City Cast Pittsburgh, leaf-peeping season is creeping closer and closer, and the City Cast team is ready to get out of town. Today, we're revisiting a favorite episode about places to rest, relax, and see the sights within a few hours of Pittsburgh. It's Tuesday, September 24th. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh is talking about. I'm here with the whole team to share some fall getaways. Executive producer Mallory Falk.
Hello.
Audio producer Sophia Lowe.
Hey there.
And Hey Pittsburgh editor Francesca Dabecco.
Hey, everyone.
So we've got a couple options for people, stuff that you can get to within an hour of the city or about there. So easily accessible for a car trip, a day trip, and then places within 4 hours or thereabouts. So maybe an overnight or more, unless you were just a really ambitious traveler. I think we've got you covered.
Yeah, make a weekend out of it.
Francesca, you want to kick us off?
Yeah. So have any of you been to McConnell's Mill State Park?
Not in many, many years.
Yeah, I went a bunch as a child, but haven't been more recently.
Well, Sophia, I know you're the new kid in town, so maybe this is one you'll want to seek out soon.
Definitely.
Or folks who are listening. So it's in Portersville in Lawrence County. That's about 40 minutes north of Pittsburgh. And it's a historic mill with this like deep scenic gorge and the restored water mill. It has a covered bridge at the bottom. It's really beautiful, especially in the fall time with all of the foliage. But there's a ton of trails around, including a pair of trails that lead to a waterfall. And one of the most accessible waterfalls, I think, is Hell's Hollow. So it's really pretty, not too far away from Pittsburgh, and a great weekend away. And there's like campgrounds nearby too, if you want to, rough it for a little bit, pitch up a tent.
And Amish country too, if you want to like get a sense of the simpler life.
Yeah, definitely. You can visit their markets and their shops and get some like handmade quilts or cheese and other things like that.
I would definitely pick up some cheese there. So my pick is a little bit different. I would love to get a chance to check out Laurel Caverns. That's about an hour and a half southeast. It's the largest cave in Pennsylvania. There are options for self-guided tours and guided tours. And I actually talked to the president of Pittsburgh Grotto. That's the local group of the National Speleological Society.
Oh, got that in one take.
I practiced saying that, but anyway, the president, Trevor Ciccinelli, shared a little bit about what it's like there.
They have the wild section, which is basically nearly unmodified, and that's a good taste of what a natural cave feels like. You can start out in the commercial section, which has lights and handrails and, the whole 9 yards.
So Trevor also leads beginners cave tours, and here's what he shared about where he goes for those.
I like to go to Barton's. It's down in Uniontown. It has a long, mostly walking section, a little bit of climbing, and then it has a long, low, wet section that we don't have to do. And so that's real nice. We can get a little bit of a trip in. We can come back to the one main room. I can say, hey, how's everyone feeling? Is anyone real tired or cold or hurt or anything? Is anyone getting real squirrely? And if everyone's feeling good, we can go do the real cavey portion.
A couple different experiences depending on if you want to be standing upright the whole time or not.
Yeah, Trevor takes it super seriously. He seemed like the kind of guy who enjoys a hands and knees situation.
I have to say, caving isn't like the thing I think of for fun, but he makes it sound fun. And I'm interested because my grandma grew up in Uniontown, and I've been wanting to visit the summit out there. It's a great place you can stay. It's historic. So like if, you want to make a weekend out of it too, that's possible.
That's great. I love that.
So if you would rather be outdoors than indoors, hands and knees is not for you. My pick is Ohio Pile State Park.
Classic.
Very classic. There's so much to do there. You can go whitewater rafting on the Youghiogheny River. If you want to sound like you really are in the know, you can call it the Yacht. There's a lot of beautiful hiking through the fall foliage. And then I really love biking on the Youghiogheny River Trail. It used to be the rail bed for the Western Maryland Railroad.
Oh.
When I was a kid, we'd take these bike trips where we'd bike from Ohio Pile to Confluence and then grab lunch at River's Edge Cafe, which is still standing, still serving up food.
Oh my God.
You did that when you were a kid? That's a very long bike trip.
How fun, though.
Yeah, it was, I guess, like about 11 miles each way. But yeah, I love going back to kind of recreate this childhood memory. It's a great place to go biking.
Yeah, and they have campsites and cottages, so there's lots of space out there for you if that sounds like something you might enjoy.
How about you, Megan?
Yeah, so actually, Francesca reminded me of this one, and I couldn't say no. So I pick Harmony, Pennsylvania, which is 1 hour north of Pittsburgh, like barely off of I-79.
Megan, Harmony was not at all on my radar until you told me some really interesting history about the town. I don't know if this is more common knowledge for other people, though.
There's historical markers all over town and a bunch of great history, even a museum there that can tell you way more about it. But I'm a little biased. I have family in the area. But yeah, so Harmony was founded in 1805. It existed for 100 years. It was a group of exiled and very pious Germans that followed their prophet leader to Western Pennsylvania, where other German settlements were going to follow very shortly. They eventually formed 3 settlements in the U.S. The first one was Harmony, PA. At their peak, the group, and they held everything in a common trust. So no one individual owned anything. Everyone owned everything collectively. It was worth $2 million.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
In the 1800s.
Yeah, I was going to say, what year? Wow.
Yeah. But with all of that piety, here's the problem. Church leaders and therefore the town leaders went through this zealous period where everyone was encouraged to remain celibate. Everyone. Married people,
What?
not married people. So you can imagine what that sort of rule does down the line to a
died
very
off real quick.
insular group. They didn't have enough members to keep going by 1905. So that 100-year period, they had 3 members and they dissolved.
That's some
That
weird
seems like
reasoning.
you could have
How?
figured that out on the front end.
One would think. But yeah, so those are the Harmonists or the Harmony Society. Now it's a quaint little town with great sidewalks, old buildings, nice restaurants, this grassy fenced area where they buried all their dead people, but without markers. So that's fun to be aware of if you're picnicking right there. And then coming up,
And there's
they
no one
have...
to tend it because they were all celibate. No one to tend the graves.
It's very well tended, I can confirm. But yeah, if you are into any of this, there's a Sleepy Hollow Festival coming up. It's on October 12th and 13th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. There's music, trick-or-treating, carriage rides, a bunch of kid-friendly activities. Plus, while you're up there, you can learn more about the society that no longer exists.
This podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV insurance at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pet injuries and additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
Starbucks Iced Apple Crisp Oat Milk Shaken Espresso. Made with blonde espresso, creamy oat milk, and spiced apple flavors. It's an icy crisp sip you can enjoy all autumn long. Order ahead on the Starbucks app.
So those were all within an hour of Pittsburgh. Now we're going to talk about some that maybe require a little bit more of a commitment. Our general arbitrary rule for this was around 4 hours, but I think we've all established a little wiggle room here and there in the margins. Mallory, you want to start? I think you're headed south.
Yeah, south to Davis, West Virginia. I mean, I think one of the best things about Pittsburgh is being right on the border with West Virginia, and so having access to so much. So it's about 3 hours south of Pittsburgh. It's an incredible place to see the fall foliage. There's tons of biking and hiking trails, waterfalls. I definitely recommend hiking in Blackwater Falls State Park. There are several breweries and distilleries you can check out. This restaurant and bar called the Purple Fiddle has live music.
I love that place so much. They always have such good acts. They're sleepers.
Yeah, no, it's a great spot. So you can really from, some local beer to some live music to incredible hiking and biking. You can really experience it all. I sound like the tourism bureau, but you really can experience it all.
No, I love this because it's like nature plus entertainment. It's everything you could want out of a little trip.
Francesca, where are you taking us?
Yes. So did Yins know that we have a Grand Canyon in Pennsylvania?
I
No.
did, yes.
I actually did not.
All right. Okay. Well, hopefully some of our listeners also did not know, and maybe they'll want to go this season. So it's in Wellsboro, PA. That's about 4 hours northeast of Pittsburgh in both Lycoming and Tioga counties. It's also called the Pine Creek Gorge. It stretches over 45 miles and goes nearly 1,500 feet deep. It's so pretty, guys. It's been a while since I've been there. It's been quite a long time, but I could never forget those views. It also has gorgeous waterfalls, and the bright foliage just pops out of the steep canyon. It's beautiful.
My one pro tip is to make sure you check the weather report before you go, because we went on a cloudy day and you cannot see anything. It was pure clouds and fog up there. So while I have technically been, I have seen nothing.
Oh, no. That's so sad. Good point. Good point, Megan. Well, while you're there, definitely check out the Pine Creek Rail Trail. It's a converted railroad bed that travels along Pine Creek Gorge at the floor of the canyon. So that's really cool. There's awesome biking and hiking spots too. And if you're looking for places to stay, there are cabins and cottages all over and campgrounds. So there's definitely lots to do. There's also the little Wellsboro town. And I was looking up and you can find some cool things there, like the Emerge Healing Arts and Spa, if you want to treat yourself. There's also this cute little cafe called Stacy K's Cafe. It looks like a little cottage, guys. It's so cute. And it looks like their main thing on their menu is waffle witches, which is like a sandwich with waffles.
Amazing.
Not what I thought that was going to be.
And I really love this because all of the names of their food items on their menu are named after books. So it's like the cozy cabin vibes you could dream of. Yeah.
So my pick is also in that area. I've been wanting to get to Cherry Springs State Park. That's in Coudersport, PA.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty close by.
Yeah. So this is the only dark sky certified park in Pennsylvania. So it's a great place in general for stargazing, seeing meteor showers, Venus, the Milky Way. There's a potential to see the Northern Lights.
Ooh, so cool.
Now, I'm not an expert on what you can see in the sky in the fall. I just want to show up and soak in all the stars. But if you want a guided tour, you can check out Potter County Stargazing Tours. It's $40 for an adult ticket. Or if you just want some help planning ahead, you can go to the DCNR's calendar of events for Cherry Springs State Park. They have a virtual session about what you need to know for a stargazing trip there. And the session's actually tomorrow, Wednesday, September 25th, from 6 to 7 p.m. It's tailored for beginners, totally free.
Sophia, this has been on my list forever because, like you said, it's the only place in Pennsylvania where you can be without lights. We've talked about that on the show, the light pollution that is so damaging and troublesome in all of our cities and towns in Pennsylvania. But this park isn't subject to that. It's actually got a vantage that removes all of that pollution. So you can get an unfiltered view of our sky. It's super cool.
Is that what it means to be dark sky certified?
Yeah, and we're one of only a handful in the Northeast. They're all over the country, just not a ton that are accessible to us.
Yeah, don't astronomers go there and set up their telescopes?
I mean, astronomers set up our telescopes in their backyards in the north side.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like it's a destination, or I've heard that.
Is, yeah,
anyways,
totally.
It sounds really cool.
So you definitely don't need to bring a telescope there, but the park website does recommend that you bring binoculars. And if you are taking flashlights, it's a really good idea to bring one with a red filter. That's to preserve night vision. And it seems like some parts of the park won't allow the regular white flashlights. And here's another place where you can reserve the campsite. The Cherry Springs Rustic Campground is open through October. And even though this is a park that's open all the time, one of the benefits of going in the fall is that the nights are starting to get longer.
Beautiful.
The way y'all described the views in this area remind me of the Kenzua Bridge. It's about 2 hours west of that area and 3 hours northeast of downtown. I think I'm getting that right. I really encourage everyone to Google this just because it's a marvel to look at even in photographs. It's pronounced Kinzu by locals, but Kenzua in the Seneca language. It was one of the tallest railroad bridges in the world, built in 1881, but collapsed in a tornado 20 years ago this year. It had been paused at the time for renovations, but they had been having tourist trains go across it for years and years and years, long after it was used for commercial purposes. But now it's this really gorgeous, incredible skywalk with hiking trails because the state decided to leave it. So the wreckage of those tall railroad spires are now just like hanging out in the valley as like a purposeful homage to nature's power. I think it's so cool.
Wow.
So, Megan, is that your recommendation or do you have another spot for us?
That was my accidental one just because I like telling yins about the history.
This is so cool, though.
Which actually seems right because I'm taking you out of state for my last one. Keuka Lake in New York is part of the Finger Lakes Formation. So I'm cheating a little. It's 4.5 hours northeast of Pittsburgh. Unless you stop in Erie or Rochester or Niagara Falls, all of which are an amazing addition to this road trip. But in Keuka, though, there are a bunch of little rentals all over the lake. I really love staying in Penn Yan in its northern tip of this lake. There's restaurants and great coffee shops. Francesca, you would die at the cuteness. Or grocery stores if you're making a longer stay. The lakes themselves are great for water sports. It's a little chilly this time of year, but if that's your thing, you can definitely do it. I have before. And there's an awesome bike trail, too, that takes you across the lakes. But the thing that this whole area is mostly known for are wineries. So they're all over the lake, like dozens and dozens and dozens. And the tastings are either free or extremely cheap, even by Pittsburgh standards.
Do you have a favorite wine from that area?
It's really similar to Germany, like the terroir and the latitude. So my favorites are dry wines mostly. At Keuka, I really like Point of the Bluff, Weiss, and McGregor. But there's something for everyone.
Good. I like sweet wines.
They have those too, like dozens and dozens of them. I've been more picky trying to find the dry ones I like.
Megan, I've been wanting to go to the Finger Lakes for a long time, so I'm going to follow your exact recommendations here.
I'm going to give you a different winery recommendation based on their iced wines. If y'all like sweet, especially this time of year, iced wines are where it's at. They're so good.
And not to, we're very classy here talking about different wines and terroir. How do you say it?
You did it. Yeah, it's good enough.
But Megan, you mentioned that you can stop in Rochester along the way if you want to break the trip up. I have family in Rochester, and I would highly recommend if you want to kick the weekend off with just like a belly full of food, then definitely get a Rochester garbage plate on your way to the Finger Lakes.
Whoa, what is that?
Sophia's shaking her head.
My sister goes to school in Rochester. She's told me about this. Not for me.
It's actually not for me either, really. But I just, I don't know. I feel like it's the equivalent of telling people they got to get a Permanis in Pittsburgh. Even if it's not your thing, you need to experience it at least once. A traditional garbage plate is your choice of cheeseburger, hamburger, white or red hots, Italian sausage, chicken, or grilled cheese served on top of any combination of home fries, French fries, baked beans, and or macaroni salad, and usually topped with the Rochester-style meat hot sauce. Mustard, onions, and ketchup are optional. This is according to the Visit Rochester site. So, if you're gearing up for a weekend where you're going to be really getting in touch with the outdoors, experiencing the changing of seasons, going for rugged hikes, having some classy wine tastings, like you gotta experience the high culture and the low culture. You can do it all in one weekend.
It's all about the balance.
Destroy yourself, body and soul.
Oh my goodness. That actually sounds like something that a lot of Pittsburghers would be into eating. This is so interesting.
Well, if yins go on any of these trips, we hope you'll let us know. You can get in our DMs at CityCastPGH on Instagram or email us pittsburgh@citycast.fm. That's all for today here on City Cast Pittsburgh. If you like the show, please tell someone, make a recommendation, let them know that we're out here. We really appreciate those word of mouth reviews. And of course, make sure you're subscribed to our Hey Pittsburgh newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Talk to you soon. When you say belly crawling, do you mean like literally like hands and knees, but like your tummy like scrapes the surface, or?
No, that's smaller than that.
What do? Do you just wiggle like a snake?
Yeah, you got to wiggle like a snake.